So the hottest news in the crypto industry right now is, of course, Ledger and how the new Recover service works. And what is up? Is our Ledger devices as secure as we thought they were? Well, we're going to break down all of that for you guys today. It's going to be a good one. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into TechPath. Ledger launches Ledger Recover. And I'm going to play a video for you guys. And we'll just kind of walk through it. But it's basically a new backup solution that is going to handle your recovery phrase, your secret recovery phrase. And this whole idea around this is that it's essentially utilizing what they say is 3 different encrypted connectivity points for your phrase and your keys. So the point is whether or not, one, can you trust this as a security level? Personally, I look at this and I just think, okay, this has got problems from day one. I don't like these kinds of integrations just because of the potential for nefarious actions. The other thing is it connects to BioID. This is another thing I don't necessarily like. BioID, I know I use an iPhone. Yes, there's Face ID there. But the point is they're connecting this to assets. That's another factor that's playing into this. Now, maybe there's some things happening with what's going on in the MiCA regulations. Remember, Ledger is a France-based company. And there's a lot happening in the European Union as a whole around KYC. So that may have some variance on it as well. I want to go over to a couple of points here on their website, because this, of course, is a little bit of how this works. So your identity is verified using your ID document. You'll be able to take a picture of basically your ID and a selfie recording. And then your Nano duplicates your secret recovery phrase and encrypts the duplicate. And then the duplicate is backed up across for your secret recovery phrase. Step 3, the backup for your secret recovery phrase is now linked to your verified identity, which again gets back to that whole point of I don't like about. And then step 4, the backup is fragmented into 3 pieces, which goes into Coincover and a third provider, and Ledger, of course. So within that, you've got a few things down here within their site. And here's the deal with Coincover. Coincover being the company that is essentially initiating this. Now, I don't know if this was an idea that Ledger had in their roadmap, or if this was something that Coincover brought to them as another, solution for, getting more money out of the project. So, I mean, any business is obviously trying to maximize their revenue per customer. It's like the #1 solution for any growth business out there. And if you've got a device user, if you can add on something to them, I would have rather just given them an opportunity. If they're just saying, hey, we need another software service or a service that we can utilize, make Ledger Live, a subscription service or something. I don't know. But the key here is add some benefits there. But going to the level of backup and recovery in a device that's supposed to be anonymous and secure, I think it really circumvents the whole idea of where this is going. Here is Coincover, just to give it an idea. This is kind of a company that was a little bit on the outside of the crypto industry. They weren't necessarily a major name. Now, maybe that's by design, but the point is they haven't been in the front of news around the industry as a whole. Now, sure, they're connected with a lot of different partners. They've got trusted by more than 200 crypto companies worldwide. You've got Bitso and BitGo in there, Fireblocks in there. These are respected companies within security elements of crypto as a whole, but not device makers. And that's the difference with Ledger. Ledger, of course, being a device maker, and this kind of jumping into it. We go into this next, and we're going to do a little collage of clips for you that gives you a bit of a understanding of what the response from the communities were. Remember that in this state right now, Ledger is a device that requires somewhat technology-capable individuals to use, and it's used by a very subset of the investors that are in crypto as a whole. People that go onto an exchange and leave it there and just camp out on it, that's a different kind of customer. It's not a customer that would buy a Ledger. Listen to what all these guys had to say. Take a look.
Ledger Nano might have made a ginormous mistake.
It has to be some kind of phishing email, and that Ledger would never ask you to back up your seed phrase to their website. And then a couple hours later, I find out that this is a thing, So I was kind of blown away by that.
I don't know if this is a coincidence. It may or may not be, but this is the same day that the European Union came out with these new MiCA regulations that basically need your ID for pretty much every single transaction.
The Ledger customer database was hacked. And so this is a company that doesn't have a great track record as far as securely storing customer data.
If you don't update your payment info and pay the subscription within 7 days, you won't be able to restore your private keys using Ledger Recover. If you don't regularize your payment within 3 months, your subscription will be suspended. After your subscription is suspended, you have 9 months to contact Ledger Recover support and reactivate your subscription. You will need to pay an administration fee of €50 along with any outstanding balances. So, wait, what? What if I go into a coma? What if I'm in a coma for more than 3 months? That $50,000 insurance fund that they have just kind of tells you that there's going to be some turbulence down the road. It may not happen 3 months from now. It may not happen 5 years from now. Who's behind it? David J., co-founder at Coincover. It looks like Adam Smith, co-founder, technical product owner at Post Quantum. They have broken our devices and trust. Devices can be fixed, trust cannot.
I've used Ledger. It's a first and basically only hardware wallet that I use most often, in fact. That might be changing very soon, unfortunately, but we always have to stay on our toes, right?
What I really don't like about this new service is the confusion that's going to arise surrounding it. No matter how many times it gets explained, people are not going to be able to wrap their heads around this little process.
All right, so that was a good kind of run up. I know if you guys listen to Heidi, she's very big into self-custody. This probably caused a huge tidal wave in a lot of these, influencers in general and analysts of the marketplace as a whole. And I'll give you guys a full understanding of what I think is maybe the future of where Ledger is going to be going with this and how this plays out here at the end of the video. So stick around for that. Make sure and smash the like button if you like these kind of analysis and breakdown. I'm going to go to clip 2. This was of their Ledger's Spaces, Twitter Spaces. We did some editing of this just so you guys can kind of clip it together to get to the real juicy parts. Listen to what they had to say around this.
I hear a lot of people saying like, oh, this is not what your customers want. Actually, this is what our future customers want, because there is hundreds of millions of people that actually need crypto and need to onboard crypto, and in a self-custody way, not through an exchange. And I'm sorry, but the piece of paper is the thing of the past, and Ledger Recover is the thing of the future. There is no compromise on security, never with Ledger. This is, our commitment. And by the way, if there is, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying like, oh, I'm sure this will be hacked in the next 12 months. Okay, but let's see. So many people have come to us and asked for this. And actually, it trumps every negative comment that I can see on Twitter in terms of the sheer number of people that need this functionality to actually onboard crypto. There is something that, where people are bundling, the database leak that we had way back when, which was a marketing leak, database leak, which was super unfortunate. And they link this to the ability to lose the seed phrase. And yes, I say that Ledger has never been compromised. And when I talk about this, I'm talking about seed phrase. What I don't really understand is, the toxicity always when we discuss such issues. I recommend you not to use the service if you don't want to use the service. And if you really feel that Ledger is going in the wrong direction, there are other service providers in the space where you can re-enter your seed phrase, always use a hardware wallet, use a Trezor, use a cold card. There are a bunch of players that are also our friends in the industry, and together we're trying to build a more secure space.
All right, so there's enough of an argument there. Let me kind of break that down a minute. First of all, I think it was a PR mistake by Gauthier going into the space and saying those things to his customers, because you've built trust, so you should work on just trying to get answers. And really, I think that's what it boils down to. If you can develop a good framework that this is good for Ledger as a company, then people could probably get behind that, because you're doing something to help sustain the technology. And the way I would look at it is you would have a pro version, which is for the cryptoids out there, and then you would have a retail or a beginner version, or intro, whatever you want to call it, and give it to what he mentioned, because the key phrase there was his future customers. Now, this is something that I'll talk about at the end, about where the future customers of Ledger are really going to come from, because I'm in a bit of a disagreement with where Ledger's strategy might be going here, and I'll break that down for you guys. And I'll explain that going forward. I want to go to one more Twitter space cut that they also did. Listen in on this one right here.
Let's say that you have a ledger right now and someone compromises it, which is not Ledger's fault, right? And then they opt in, they sign up the KYC without your knowledge, and then they reach out to these parties to try to recover it. They have the physical device. Is that not a new attack vector? What am I missing there?
Maybe somebody has your device and they've got in it. I'm not sure that's what they would do.
There's a new attack vector where even if you didn't have the PIN or the private or the seed, you have the device and you could contact these three guys, and there's someone that has authority to give someone assets. That's what I'm getting at.
No, you would have to have the PIN or the private key.
It's a new attack vector to someone who opted in. So if your point is that,
all right, thank you. That was my point. It is a new attack vector that you're introducing with the software.
So of course, if you add KYC in between, it will add new attack vectors, because typically, there are ways to fool KYCs, and that's also why the insurance goes to 50K and not to 3 million or whatever, because of course, on that part, this definitely adds new attack vectors. So you have to think if you are comfortable with the KYC. If you are not comfortable with the KYC, I think you can. Well, there are more than two options, because we said there is option one, you don't use the service. Option two, you use the service. But I like, of course, as a builder, I like option three, which is, you have all the way to build another service by yourself if you want.
All right, so lots of tension there within the Twitter spaces, and I think it was really more like anything else. You've taken a device which I thought was really representing the crypto space as rock solid, the most impenetrable device out there for something that is locked and loaded like crypto, which is kind of almost like bearer assets. If you go back to how bearer bonds were done, that's essentially what crypto is. So it does create these new scenarios, including to what they were referencing there in terms of attack vectors, meaning it's just another way for social engineering hackers to work their way through devices and get there to that point. Now, can it happen? I feel like this is going to be a problem for the new customers of Ledger. I don't think we're going to see a lot of people jumping into this that are traditional Ledger owners today. This is going to be a problem for the next generation of Ledger owners. And that's really the question for me. Will there be a next generation of Ledger owners? And I'll explain what I mean by that. But I want to jump to their tweet right here. It says, we're answering top questions we've received about our new product, Ledger Recover. I downloaded the latest firmware update, etc. And the possibility of Ledger to extract my secret recovery phrase. This was kind of the big question. A couple of things we highlighted here on Ledger support. You will need to consent. So that gets back into the whole process here of on your Ledger authorizing duplication, encryption, and sharding of your secret recovery phrase. And then further into that was user consent, again, is needed on your Ledger product in order to subscribe and to generate encrypted. So once you've done it, if you've gone through that process, back to that point in their, in their Twitter space, you've just created a new window. So definitely one for sure. All right, so the big point here is, how the responses are coming in again from social media and a lot of influencers. Here's Wendy O just basically says, hey, GM to everyone, Ledger, but Ledger, and to everyone else that's about to learn how to use a paper wallet. Listen, guys, if we get to paper wallets, this is a paper wallet. We have lost. We have lost. Crypto has lost if we get to this level. We have to have these kinds of devices. Here's where I think this is going to land. And I'm going to give you, a guy who's run a tech business, media business over the years. We've done good things, wrong things in launches of products. We've had PR nightmares. We've had those kind of things happen in many businesses. One of the things that Ledger has got to be prepared for, and that is this shifting landscape of how custody is going to be managed in the future. I don't necessarily think that Ledger is going to win the custody space, but self-custody space in the future of entry-level crypto users. I think that's going to land in the hands of the banks. Now, could they partner with banks to create devices and maybe or a software product that could roll into that, like Recover, things of that nature, and then license that into places like banks and other solutions? Yeah, but the more possibility or bigger possibility there is kind of like what Fidelity is doing. And I think that's where it's going to be going. So I don't necessarily think they have a future going in that direction for new customers. I think they need to take care of business today, and that is creating the most impenetrable, most secure devices out there in terms of hardware. Last thing I'll say, this opens the window, guys. For all of you hardware makers out there, you card software manufacturers, the people who are building new wallet devices, guess what? The window just opened. Ledger may not have the lock on the market anymore that they once had. This changes the dynamic dramatically in the future of Ledger. If you guys are not part of our Diamond Circle, get in. It's one of the ways we do a lot of additional content, podcasts, additional audio casts that I do on references around this. I'll probably do one on this very episode that will go into a lot more detail of my thoughts of where this is going. But the way you get to that access of content is you get in on the Diamond Circle. If you want to reach me, it's out there on Twitter, @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.